We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, if you love everything in college football, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with the family and friends. If you want to support this college football rebel outpost, if you want to support the home for the true college football sickos with a donation, just hit that $sign where you make a comment and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Rock and Rant, the Big Ten doing a Charmin endorsement deal. Daniel Gorby, the Big Ten says, squeeze the Charmin. Florida man, don't squeeze the Charmin. And the Big Ten is inviting all of that. They're inviting all of that. Has the Big Ten gone soft? What is exactly going on? I've come up with a bunch of different theories. I've talked with Big Ten folk that have come up with theories. And I've said none of it works. Well, maybe the couple of the most extreme theories could be logical. But the rest of it doesn't work. And what am I talking about? The Big Ten, as of today, not requiring their 18 football institutions from playing 10 Power 4 opponents. Why? It doesn't make any sense. The SEC, the Big 12, the ACC, it's all bolted down. The ACC went to 9 conference games. The Southeastern Conference went to 9 conference games. It makes no sense. The Big Ten has been pounding the table, declaring that everybody should go to 9 conference games. We can't solve this college football playoff format. And everybody called the Big Ten's bluff. I don't get it. I got a couple of... There's only like 1 or 2 possibilities, but they're radical. And we're going to go through a Brett McMurphy article of today. And according to the reporting of Brett McMurphy, the Big Ten hasn't even had discussions around having required 10 games against Power 4 opponents during the regular season. Not even discussions. Soft. The Big Ten is acting very, very soft. Now, there are some comments in the comments section saying it's got to be this reason, maybe it's this reason, maybe it's that reason. We are going to go through each one of those possibilities, but none of them make sense. None of them makes any sense. Tony's bragging about how the Big Ten made everybody jump. But it makes the Big Ten look foolish. It makes them look soft. When everybody did what the Big Ten wanted, but they're sitting back and going, we haven't even had discussions. We haven't even had discussions around required 10 games against Power 4 opponents. It looks bad, guys. It is soft. And here's another theory. The Big Ten is waiting on the playoffs format decision. Okay. And we are gonna hit that. We're gonna talk more about that theory. But you know what? Here is the problem. Here is the problem with that theory. The argument to go to automatic qualifiers. There's a lot of good arguments. You guys know I flipped on that. I think the AQ model is most definitely the way to go. But one of the great points of the AQ model is it's 2 bites at the apple. It's the conference races to get into that automatic qualifying spot, but there is that first bite of the apple. The AQ model. The AQ model, for the AQ model to work, it has to be bigger than 16 teams, and you need at-large bids. You still need the at-large bids in the AQ model, not just to satisfy Notre Dame and that requirement, but to have value in those non-conference games. To have to play against Power 4 opponents in the non-conference games, that boosts the value of your non-conference. It should, in theory, boost the winner of those games' ability to get into a large spot if they don't get one of the AQ spots. In other words, the one conference, the one Power 4 conference that should be pounding the table for the requirement of 10 P4 games every regular season should be the Big Ten, because they are the ones that are most for the AQ model. It doesn't make any sense. The Big Ten should be the one that is saying 10 required games, because they're the ones who want the non-conference games to mean a lot, and they want the conference races to mean a lot. I don't know they haven't even had discussions. What are they doing? I get it. I get it. It's a large conference. It's 18 schools. There's lots of disagreements. You can have a discussion on it. Silent Tony, you got to go out there and say something. I mean, this is ridiculous. How difficult is it to say, yes, we, the Big Ten, are going to require our teams to play 10 Power 4 opponents in a season? Most of the schools do it anyways. But just say it's going to be a requirement. Say it's going to be starting in 2027. And if things change then you can, you don't even have to, you know what? You don't even have to be really committed to the idea. Just throw it out there that there's going to be a requirement. It makes no sense. It makes the Big Ten look soft. Because are they soft? Are they getting so inside themselves? Are they becoming so above it all? Expedition Greg, Ohio State already does. Yeah, a lot of schools are. That's my point. That's one of my many points. Most of the Big Ten schools already play 10. They play 10 Power 4 conference games. So just require for the few that don't. Just say it. Just say it's a requirement. Yes, thank you everybody for going to 9 conference. The Big Ten could be using all these changes right? They could be using all these changes and saying, look at our leadership. Look at what we have done. We have made the college football better in the Power Four. More Power Four teams playing each other more often. They should be patting themselves on the back. The Big Ten should be taking this opportunity and giving a bow. But they're not. They can't. Why? Because they, for whatever reason, they don't make it a requirement to play 10 Power 4 games in a regular season. And worse yet, they haven't even had the discussions. They should be applauding everybody else for the Big Ten should be applauding everybody else to go to 9 conference games. Then they should take that and say, yes, now that everyone's done that, we are going to require everybody to go to 10 games against Power 4 opponents. And then bang on the table saying, look, this sets up perfectly, AQ model. We got 2 bites at the apple. At large bids where a big non-conference win can help your team. And if that doesn't work out, you got your conference race. But no, they're not doing that. The Big Ten is not doing that. They're doing the opposite of what they should be doing. And by the way, they're not the only conference that's doing the opposite of what they should be doing. We'll talk about the college football playoff format later on in the show. We're going to talk about what Paul Feinbaum said. I don't know what's going on, guys. Maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe I'm the moron. I am the original Minnesota moron. Maybe I'm just the guy who doesn't understand. I do not understand the position of the ACC and the Big 12 when it comes to the future college football playoff format. They're not playing fifth dimensional chess. I don't even think they're playing checkers. You hear what Paul Feinbaum said. You know what the SEC is doing. But that's not the focus of this show today. Is the Big Ten going soft? Are they going to let some of those schools in the Big Ten off the hook because they only play 9 Power 4 games in the regular season, the 9 Big Ten teams, and then they throw in 3 games that are FCS and G5 teams? You know, when some Big Ten schools schedule that, I really had no problem with it. Because look what the SEC was doing. Look what the ACC was doing. But now that the ACC and the SEC have changed their scheduling model, the Big Ten must adjust as well. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us at the beginning of the September 24th live show. It is, I don't know. Maybe the Gophers do play 10 games, yes. But that's not even the point. That's not the point. The Gophers play 10 Power 4, yeah, they just got beat by California. They play Mississippi State the next couple of years. But it should be a requirement. That's the point. A requirement. A requirement for all the Big Ten schools. You just lost the high ground. You gave it away. And for what? Because there's a few Big Ten, it's not even that many Big Ten schools, because a few Big Ten schools have 3 non-conference games lined up with G5 and FCS every single year for the next so many years. This is the time. It was the time. The Big Ten's already screwed it up. The Big Ten has already screwed it up. They had the high ground. People moved to their position. And now the Big Ten is saying, well, we haven't even discussed going to requirement of 10. I've only got two reasons that I've only got 2 reasons that the reason why the Big Ten hasn't even had discussions on it. And we're going to talk about that at the back end of the monologue. First, again, it should not be about the new TV contract. It should be a requirement. It should be a requirement today. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. But it's one of those things, once again, in which these large conferences, they seem to be paralyzed. They seem to be absolutely paralyzed with all the competing interests in these conferences. Okay, I'm going to offer up a couple of possibilities on why the Big Ten still is not requiring the 10 Power 4 opponents. And they're a little bit radical, but they're at least a little bit logical. But before we do that, we're going to do the roll call. And before we do all that, we got to make our picks against the spread. We got to make our picks against the spread for week 5. And going into week 5, Greg the Cooler, I'm 28-35. And you, PATC, Gridiron Einsteins, are 28-35. I think I'm going first. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. Let me know if I think I'm going first with the picks. And again, I get it. Look, I get it. The Big Ten is trying to get the 8Q model. I get it. I'm the first one that reported that. Or one of the first ones. The first ones that said they were going for 4 8Qs. But the best way to try to secure the 8Q model is to say we are going to require our teams in our conference to play 10 Power 4 opponents. And I don't understand why that is so difficult to bloody understand. What are you doing, Silent Tony? What are you doing? AMAC is in the house. Chris G is here. GCFM is in the house. The Georgia Bulldog, Don Scruggs, Jared Jones, Expedition Greg, the Walking Geek, Tough Tony Edward, the Auburn Tiger, Yogi Buck Sr. is in the house. Patrick Baylor Bear is here. Chris Kenny, the Florida man, Rico, Jago Blue, James C., Daniel Dillak is in the house. D5 Terps, planes are landing, and Tony P is directing the traffic. The Almighty Finn is here. Al Woody, thanks for coming on in. The Grateful Trojan. Is there another Minnesota moron besides you? Yes, there are plenty. And I am the original. Stephen Vitt, Ohio Bobcat, is in the house. Neil Sanford is here. James C. is here. Michael M. is in the house. Adam, Dallas Marquez. Olarmy is here. Canes Fan 1993 is in the house. Movie Time Blues. Okay, all right, here we go, guys. We got to make our picks. I think I'm going first. I'm pretty sure I'm going first. I'm going to make my selections first. You all can file your complaints at the PATC complaint office. All right? And by the way, all these theories about how I try to cheat during these selections against the spread, even if that was true, which it isn't for the most part, even if that was true, I would be a horrific cheater because, again, I am well below 50% against the spread. Greg the Cooler, let's go. I am not going to use a quarter. I am not going to flip a quarter on these games. I believe that this is it for me. I believe that this is the week that I'm going to turn it all around. This is it. Greg the Cooler has dominated the PATC studio for 3 and 1 quarter years. I started feeling down. I lost all my confidence. I lost all my Flugar swagger. Yesterday I came in here with the tail between my legs. And I said I might have to flip a quarter on every single game because I doubt myself. I am the re-elected mayor of Loserville City. But I decided, no. I believe in Greg the Gold. I believe that Greg the Gold is hidden somewhere in the fat guy from Minnesota. And he's coming out today. These selections I had when I sat down and I said my prayer to the maroon and gold God in the sky. I had a flash of brilliance. It lasted for about 6 minutes. I wrote down the winners of these games against the spread, and I'm looking at a miracle. I am looking at a miracle. You thought the 10 Commandments written in stone was a miracle? These 13 picks against the spread shows you that you always need to believe. Believe in yourself. Let's go. Let's go. 6 minutes of brilliance. Here are my picks. All right. Florida State at Virginia. The Seminoles are going to hit adversity on Friday night. And we at Peek Around the Corner, we're going to be doing a watch party. So please come and join us. Watch party. PATC, the Seminoles and the Cavaliers. The Seminoles are going to hit adversity. A couple of things are going to really go pear-shaped for the Seminoles for the very first time in 2025. The Seminoles will prevail, but Virginia will cover. The Cavaliers will cover. TCU at Arizona State, I said it yesterday, I am not going against the Horned Frogs. I'm not going to do it again. Every time I go against the Horned Frogs, they cover. I'm not going to go against the Horned Frogs. I've got TCU plus 2.5. Notre Dame at Arkansas. It's going to be a very high scoring game. I do believe that Notre Dame is going to cover. This minus 4.5 point spread, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I know the Irish defense is hurting, and they lost Leonard Moore, the great secondary player, number 15, a brilliant sophomore cornerback. He's out. But I got the Irish. USC at Illinois. Again, this game reminds me a little bit of the Florida State-Virginia game. It's the same spread. The team at home is getting 6.5 points. I do think the gap is a little bit closer with the Trojans and Illinois. I took Virginia. I'm taking Illinois. They're going to cover this game. Now, USC, I think, is going to run that ball. But the Fighting Illini, if they lose this game, they're not going to go out without a fight. That ain't what happened last week. Ain't going to happen this week. Illinois is the pick. Indiana at Iowa. You know where I'm going with this. This one team does not get affected by Greg DeCula, and that is I am taking the Indiana Hoosiers. The Indiana Hoosiers. Auburn, Texas A&M. Look, I like Auburn. They played really good last week. They didn't cover, but they should have. Possibly, maybe. Auburn playing very good football. They're an improved football program. But I think this game is going to be the official. Now, Marcel Reed already had his Heisman candidacy launched against Notre Dame. But I think this game is going to take him to the next level. Marcel Reed is going to shine. The Aggies are going to cover. LSU and Ole Miss. This game is quite the struggle for me because I was so high on LSU at the start of the season, so low on Ole Miss at the start of the season. I'm still taking LSU to cover. LSU Tigers to cover plus 1.5. The third string quarterback Chambliss is going to play again for Ole Miss. Third straight week. I think LSU is going to get a defensive touchdown, a scoop and a score, a pick six, turnovers, short field. LSU is going to score enough points, win another big road game. LSU Tigers cover the spread. Buckeyes in Washington. There was no way that I was going to go against TCU this week. There was no way I was going to go against the Buckeyes this week. Washington, very exciting team to play. They're playing at an extremely high level. This play is nothing, no disrespect to the Huskies For me, it's all about the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes do cover in a very, very exciting game. It's going to be a lot of explosion. Buckeyes and the Huskies. I got the Buckeyes. Tennessee at Mississippi State again. Tennessee has played better than I thought they were going to play in 2025, just like Ole Miss. And so therefore, I should be taking the Volunteers. I'm not. I'm taking Mississippi State. Swagular in that environment. I just want to see what happens, guys. I just want to see what happens. It's going to be a very close game. The Volunteers is probably going to win, but Mississippi State is going to cover. Arizona, Iowa State. The more and more I looked at this game, the more and more I like the Cyclones. I've got the Cyclones. I'm going to give 6.5 points. Georgia, Alabama. Yeah. I think the Bulldogs get it done. I think they beat Alabama. And 2.5 points, you can have them. This game drove me to misery yesterday and the day before, but not today. Again, I had 6 minutes of brilliance. A miracle happened. Everything cleared up for me. The Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Bulldogs are going to beat Alabama, and they're going to beat them like a drum. The Bulldogs are going to beat Bama like a drum. Oregon, Penn State. The Nittany Lions win this game by a last-second field goal. Oregon covers. Penn State wins. In BYU, Colorado, again, just like TCU, just like Ohio State, I'm not going against BYU. BYU, you have proven it to me. That defense, Jay Hill, you have proven it to me. BYU is going to cover this game, and it's not even going to be close. The BYU Cougars minus 6.5. That's nothing. That is nothing. Give the 6.5. Those are my picks against the spread. I've got UVA, TCU, Notre Dame, Illinois, Indiana, Texas A&M, LSU, Ohio State, Mississippi State, Iowa State, Georgia, Oregon, and BYU. Now, I am going to, hold on one second. Let me clear something up here. And then we're going to get to you guys' picks. All right? Hopefully you guys are ready to go. Again, going into week 5, Greg the Cooler's record is 28-35. The PATC Einsteins are 28-35. And then after we're done with our picks, After we're done with our picks, we are going to go into the Brett McMurphy article about the Big Ten not even having discussions in regards to having a requirement for 10 games against Power 4 opponents. After we get through that article, after I rage against the Big Ten once again, then I'm going to give you a couple of wild theories on why this might be the case. Okay. Here we go, guys. I hope you're ready. I hope you all are ready. Does Florida State cover the -6.5 point spread versus Virginia? If you vote yes, you're taking Florida State and you are willing to give 6.5. If you vote no, you want Virginia and receive 6.5 points. The voting begins now. Yes, today the Florida State joined the Big 12 in South Carolina. Florida State, Boise State joined the Big 12 in beach volleyball. Thank you for the reminder, Yogi Buck. Going to give 5 more seconds on the vote. We do have a landslide here. 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 86% takes Florida State. The PATC Einsteins are heavy on Florida State. Very interesting. Very interesting. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Does Arizona State cover the -2.5 point spread TCU? If you vote yes, you're taking Arizona State and you're willing to give 2.5 points. If you're voting no, that means you're taking TCU and you want you're getting 2.5 points. The voting begins now. We've got another landslide. 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 82% of you say no. The Einsteins have taken TCU heavily. So thus far, you all have taken Florida State and TCU, and the voting has not been close. It's been a couple of landslides. PATC is coming in strong with a lot of consensus. Thus far, here we go. Does Notre Dame cover the -4.5 point spread versus Arkansas? If you vote yes, you're taking Notre Dame and you're willing to give 4.5 points. If you're voting no, you're taking Arkansas and you are receiving 4.5 points. And the voting begins now. Notre Dame at Arkansas. Going to give you 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 62% says yes. The Einsteins have taken Notre Dame. Notre Dame will cover against Arkansas. USC at Illinois. Does USC cover the -6.5 point spread versus Illinois? If you vote yes, you're taking USC and you're willing to give 6.5. If you vote no, you want Illinois and get 6.5 points. The voting begins now. 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 59% says no. The PATC Einsteins take Illinois. They believe Illinois will be at least competitive, bounce back from that blowout loss to Indiana. Speaking of Indiana, we've got Indiana at Iowa. What is the PATC family going to do here? Does Indiana cover the minus 7.5 point spread versus Iowa? If you vote yes, you're taking the Hoosiers and you're giving 7.5. If you vote no, you're taking Iowa and receiving 7.5. The voting begins now. Last week, the PATC Einsteins took Illinois to cover against Indiana. This week, it doesn't look like the PATC family is going to make the same mistake again. They're big on Indiana. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 82% of the PATC Einsteins have taken Indiana. Auburn, Texas A&M. Texas A&M, the Aggies are favored by 6.5 points. Does Texas A&M cover the minus 6.5 point spread versus Auburn? If you vote yes, you're taking Texas A&M and you're willing to give 6.5 points. If you vote no, you want the Auburn Tigers and you get 6.5. The voting begins now. Are the PATC Einsteins getting a six minutes of brilliance like Greg the Cooler received when making his picks? Are the Einsteins rebounding? Are the Einsteins going to get above the 500 mark? 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 58% of you take Texas A&M to cover against the Auburn Tigers. LSU and Ole Miss. Tough game. I have no idea what you guys are going to do on this one. No idea at all. Does Ole Miss cover the minus 1.5 point spread versus LSU? If you vote yes, you're willing to give 1.5. If you vote no, you are getting 1.5 points. The voting begins now. Vox Quindaro is in the house. It's PATC Gridiron Einsteins. Jeez. And we don't get a nothing. We take what we want. 5 more seconds on the vote. We got a close one here. We got a close vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 53% says no. The PATC Einsteins took LSU. Oh boy, here we go. The Buckeyes and the Huskies. Both playing at a very, very high level. Does Ohio State cover minus 8.5 point spread versus Washington? If you vote yes, you are willing to give 8.5 points, and the Buckeyes, if you vote no, you want Washington, and you are receiving 8.5 points. The voting begins now. We got a close one. We got a close one. 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 53% says yes. The Buckeyes by an eyelash. The PATC family takes the Buckeyes. Mississippi State and Tennessee. Does Tennessee cover the minus 7.5 point spread versus Mississippi State? If you vote yes, you're taking the Volunteers and you're willing to give 7.5 points. If you vote no, that means you want Mississippi State, Hail State Bulldogs, and you receive 7.5 points. The voting begins now. Five more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 61% says yes. Tennessee will cover. All right, we got 4 more games to go. 4 more to go. Arizona, Big 12 matchup. Arizona, does Iowa State cover the minus 6.5 point spread versus Arizona? If you vote yes, you're willing to take Iowa State and give 6.5. If you're voting no, that means you want the Arizona Wildcats and receive 6.5 points. The voting begins now. The Almighty Finn says the Huskies will upset the Buckeyes. If the Buckeyes lose to Washington, they'll be out for blood against the Gophers. Stephen Clark. God, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen. Skaven, yes, yes. At least Greg the Cooler can't curse my team this week. 5 more seconds on the vote. We got a little bit of a landslide here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 73% takes the Iowa State Cyclones to cover. Alabama, Georgia. Alabama, Georgia. Does Georgia cover the minus 2.5 point spread versus Alabama? If you vote yes, you're taking Georgia, willing to give 2.5 points. If you take no, that means you want Bama and you receiving 2.5 points. The voting begins now. Five more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 63% takes Georgia. It wasn't even all that close. It wasn't even all that close. We've got the whiteout game. Penn State, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be electrifying. Does Penn State cover the minus 3.5 point spread versus Oregon? If you vote yes, you're taking Penn State and you're willing to give 3.5 points. If you're voting no, you're willing to take the Ducks and get 3.5 points. The voting begins now. Five more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 59% of you says no. Penn State will not cover. The Oregon Ducks will cover. Wow. Wow, here we go. Last game, very last game, and then we got to talk about the Big Ten is going soft. Soft. Does BYU cover the minus 6.5 point spread versus Colorado? If you vote yes, you want BYU and give 6.5 points. If you vote no, you want the Buffaloes and receive 6.5. The voting begins now. We've got a blowout. 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 88% of you took BYU. So, the PATC Einsteins. The PATC Einsteins. You guys took Florida State. Well, you know what? Let me do it this way. Just to show you guys something, let me do it this way. Florida State and Virginia. I took Virginia. You all took Florida State. All right? I took Virginia. You all took Florida State. The Tennessee-Mississippi State game, I took Mississippi State and you took Tennessee. I took Mississippi State, you took Tennessee. All the other games, we both took TCU. We both took Notre Dame. We both took Illinois. We both took Indiana. We both took Texas A&M. We both took LSU. We both took Ohio State. We both took Iowa State. We both took Georgia. We both took Oregon. We both took BYU. So out of the 13 games, the PATC Einsteins and Greg DeCooler, who had 6 minutes of brilliance when he picked these games, out of 13 games, we both took the same team on 11 of them. So, we are both going up, or we are both going down together. We're both going down together, or we are rising together. Pretty much, I don't know what the heck that means. I don't know if you guys are starting to think like myself, which is not good news for you, or I'm starting to be influenced by you Einsteins, which is not good for me. We both have the same record going into this week, 28-35, and we basically took the same exact teams. Wow. Woo! Okay. Brett McMurphy. Brett McMurphy on 3. While the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC requires 10 power opponents in 2026, the Big 10 has no plans to do the same. Again, we will provide a link in the description box. You can read the whole article. We will provide a link in the description box. Starting next season, the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC will require the respective schools to play a minimum of 10 power conference opponents. However, the Big 10 has no immediate plans to do the same, sources told On 3. For the past 2 seasons, the Big 12 have been required to play a minimum of 10 games against power conference opponents. The 9 conference games and 1 conference game. The Big 12 will continue to do it so next season. In 2026, the Southeastern Conference and the ACC will begin requiring the schools to play a minimum of 10 games against power conference opponents, 9 league games and 1 non-conference game. And then there's the Big 10. The Big 10 will play 9 conference games, as it has every season since 2016, but it isn't requiring its members to play a non-conference power conference opponent. It hasn't been discussed. PATC money shot number 1. It hasn't been discussed, one Big 10 source said. Another source added, there is nothing on the immediate horizon. With nothing on the Big 10 immediate horizon regarding playing the same number of power conference opponents as the other 3 leagues, at least the requirement of it, don't expect any resolution on the 2026 college football playoff format, sources said. Expect the 2026 playoff to be the same 12-team model as in 2024 and 25, sources said. The league commissioners are meeting today in Chicago. And if there's any breaking news, keep your head on a swivel, put it in the chat room, and we will cover it here at Peek Around the Corner if there's any breaking news. I do have some news that came out earlier today that is probably going to cover everything. But again, just keep your head on a swivel. This year, 6 Big Ten teams, Penn State, Indiana, Washington, Rutgers, Northwestern, Maryland, do not play a non-conference power opponent. Next season, 5 Big Ten teams, Indiana, Nebraska, Penn State, Rutgers, and Washington, are currently not scheduled to play a non-conference power opponent. Okay, look, I think it's soft as hell. I think it's, first of all, it's incredibly terrible PR. Why would you not put the requirement in immediately after the ACC and the Southeastern Conference both went to 9 conference games? These schools can change their scheduling. These Big Ten schools that have the 3 non-conference games, they can figure it out. They can play each other if they can't figure out another P4 game, schedule each other as a non-conference game. You cannot pound on the table and say that everybody should go to 9 conference games. And part of the argument, I don't even have to go down that rabbit hole. And then when they do, and the other conferences are requiring 10 Power 4 opponents and you don't do it, that comes off as soft. At the very time, the Big Ten should be applauding themselves for getting everybody up at the 9 conference games. What a blown opportunity. What a blown opportunity. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, maybe the Big Ten is waiting for a decision on the college football playoff format. All right? I will get into that right now. The news coming out today, Ross Dellinger, CFP Executive Director Rich Clark, after the playoff meeting here in Chicago, says commissioners did not discuss much on the future format. There remains a December 1st deadline and a decision for 2026 playoff. If no decision, the playoff remains at 12 teams, right? Ross Dellinger, roughly 20 minutes was spent today on it. All right. Scott Dochterman from The Athletic. CFP Executive Director Rich Clark, Lieutenant General Rich Clark, on the discussions about automatic qualifiers versus selection committee qualification. Again, this is today. This is Rich Clark. I would say everything is on the table, and they want to be able to discuss things and understand the pros and cons for every option that's there. They don't want to make a decision until they've actually done the work and put the work in and understand every aspect of the decisions that they're going to make. My sense is they just don't want to rush to a decision. It's an important one, and they know that's important. And if they have time to continue to analyze and to consider the different aspects and elements of it, and then discuss it among themselves. Well, they've been talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. They've had meetings, they've had phone calls. Things are different now than they were a couple of months ago. We now know the SEC's gone to 9 conference games. They have a requirement of 10 games against Power 4 opponents. The Big 12 has it. The ACC has it. And for some God unknown reason, the Big 10 is not making it a requirement. I don't think the Big 10 not going for a requirement of 10 Power 4 conference games has anything to do with the college football playoff discussion. I mean, if it does, then the Big Ten, then Tony Petitti, seriously, I don't know what's going on, because one of the great arguments of the AQ model is 2 bites at the apple. One, an AQ model has the ability to have a better non-conference schedule, a more valuable non-conference schedule for everybody. If you can win those big non-conference games, then you have the ability to get into the playoffs even if you do not qualify in the AQ model in your conference race. If you lose those big non-conference games, you have a second bite of the apple in your conference race. So if you're really for the AQ model, if you are really for the AQ model, you should be saying we all should be playing each other in non-conference games. Tony Petitti should be saying it. He's the one who should be saying it. He should have been the first one. It doesn't make any sense. Because look, in the AQ model, losing that non-conference game doesn't eliminate you. But if you win it, it could possibly help. It doesn't make any sense. Tony Petitti, your logic, your inability to fight for your ideas, and you're leaving it up to the fat guy from Minnesota, you've got the best model, but you don't know how to fight for it. The Big Ten should be clamoring for these big they should be saying easily. It should have been the easiest thing in the world. The easiest messaging in the world for the Big Ten to come out and say, yes, we're going to have a requirement now that everybody's gone to non-conference games. It's a requirement that the Big Ten schools are going to be playing 10 Power 4 opponents. It was the the ball was teed up on the tee. All you got to do is swing the bat. Heck, if you hit the tee a little bit, the ball's still going to go forward. I know you're not great in front of the mic, but that's all you had to do is say, yep. We're going to get it. We might not get it done by 26, but yeah, it's going to be a requirement. But no, that wasn't the message. The message was, not only is it not a requirement to play 10 Power 4 opponents, but we haven't even had a discussion on it. It's not even imminent. It's nothing. So why? Why? Again, we had somebody in the PATC community. Thank you so very much. Thank you. People in the PATC family do such a great job of keeping their head on a swivel. I cannot play this. I cannot play the audio. But I did listen to the audio. And I can confirm that Rick Neuheisel on the show called Full Ride on College Sports, Radio XM, Channel 84. Full Ride on College Sports, Radio XM, Channel 84. Rick Neuheisel said, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not going to get it exactly correct, but he said he believes that we are heading towards an AQ model with some at-large bids included. Rick Neuheisel said it today. So I want to thank the person once again for giving me that audio. I listened to it. If that is the case, if Rick Neuheisel is correct, then I don't understand the Big Ten. I do not understand the Big Ten not having this all signed, sealed, and delivered, that there's going to be a requirement of 10 Power 4 opponents every year. It doesn't, it literally, all you're doing is hurting yourself at that point. So here is a couple of my radical ideas on why the Big Ten is fumbling the football. Not just fumbling the football, but they kicked the ball because this was the time for them to, this was a great time for them to say, everyone's doing okay. This is great for college football. We of course we're going to require they just fumbled it away, and they created a fumble. They kicked the ball out of their own end zone, and it was a safety. They gave up 2 points. My only idea on why the Big Ten is gone in this direction, and they haven't even had a discussion, is number one, and by the way, I'm not buying either of these arguments. I'm not buying either one. But again, it's something that my brain is at least saying, okay, I can see that. Number one is, we heard what Paul Feinbaum said yesterday. I cannot show you that on this program. I will get a copyright strike. But you know what? I'm not even going to show you the video with the caption. But Paul Feinbaum basically said, we're going to, the CFP is in trouble. They're going to pay for it if they don't do the right thing when it comes to selecting the playoff teams. And Paul Feinbaum just made a complete, but you know what? He told the truth. The SEC is going to put so much pressure on the selection committee. They are going to bend over. They are going to bow down. And it's the Big 12 and the ACC that are going to get screwed. I mean, I don't know how much more. I don't get it. I don't know how much more evidence you need. Well, we're going to find out this year and next year until people finally get it. So maybe the Big Ten is like so distrustful of this 5+11, and they're so like they've decided to screw the SEC because the SEC screwed them and whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. The other one is, and this again, there could be some potential to what I'm about to say. And that is the Big Ten doesn't care about looking bad or looking soft, or they just don't care because there has been some internal discussions and internal decisions. Again, I'm speculating, guys. I'm trying to figure out why the Big Ten just scored on themselves, fumbled the ball away, kicked it out of their own end zone, looking soft as hell. The only thing I can come up with is the Big Ten had made it an internal decision that the chessboard that everyone's playing on is going to look a whole lot different. And that it doesn't do any good to figure out a college football playoff format for 2026. In other words, the Big Ten is not interested in changing the college football playoff format for 26 when it's going to have to change drastically for 27 or 28 or 29. And this chessboard that the Big Ten is playing on with everybody else, the Big Ten knows that it's going to look drastically different. That the Big Ten is going to have more members. That the SEC is going to have more members. that the 5+11 is going to be antiquated. It's not going to work. Why even go to it? Maybe the Big Ten. Look, we did a whole thing on Mark Coyle, right? We did this whole thing on Mark Coyle, and there's more coming on that, by the way. We believe. Whether it's 2 days or 2 years, I do think there's going to be continued fluctuation. I can tell you peers in the Big Ten are trying to find revenue, right? There are peers in other conferences trying to do right now. We have the best media deals in the country, so there's going to be movement. I have been saying over and over and over again that the Big Ten is not going to act first. It's going to be the Southeastern Conference. Unless it's North Carolina or Notre Dame calling the Big Ten, the SEC is going to act first. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but maybe I'm wrong. Mark Coyle doesn't talk like that unless maybe the timeline, and again, I've always thought the sped up timeline was going to be more accurate. Maybe the Big Ten is like, well, why come to an agreement for 2026 when we know that we need that playoff format to look drastically different for 27 and 28? And the Southeastern Conference might be sitting there going, well, geez, you know. Yeah, I mean, why are we going to fight over the 26 format when our conference is going to be growing? We're going to want more qualified. Either the AQ model is going to have to grow bigger, and we're probably not going to go to a 5+19, right? So the Big Ten's like, well, who cares? Maybe they're saying, well, none of this really matters. We're kind of really tired of arguing. We want the bigger format. We're going to get the bigger format because we're going to be a lot larger, and so is the SEC. That is my only explanation for why the Big Ten can't get in front of the microphone and humbly say, okay, we are going to require each Big Ten team to play 10 Power 4 opponents, just like the ACC just did, just like the SEC just did, just like the Big 12 has done for a couple of years. Why can't the Big Ten just get in front of the microphone and say that? Even if what I just said is correct, ends up being correct, it doesn't cost anything for the Big Ten to say we are committed to the requirement. And then when things blow up, people are going to forget about that commitment, and we're going to be looking at a whole different landscape. I don't understand why the Big Ten screwed this up. They haven't had discussions. How can you possibly not have discussions about going to require 10 games against Power 4 opponents? How can you not have those discussions? And the only explanation I can come up with is because they're having a million discussions on a transformative Big Ten that is going to be appearing at a movie, at a theater near you within the next year or two. Okay, I'm going to go to your phone calls. Let me know what you're thinking. We do have a super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Heartbreak 25. Heartbreak 25. Everything the Big Ten does is usually to achieve long-term strategic goal. I'm stumped on what they could gain by delaying a 10P4 mandate. Who's protected? I don't get it. I don't understand it. There's no explanation for it. The best one I got is they're going soft. They're going soft. There's something internally that is making them so insular. It doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you for the $5 holla. Heartbreak 25. I very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. Charlie Atwood is a bargaining chip. Well, they've already gotten. The Big Ten's already gotten what they wanted and what they needed. The Big Ten, the SEC and the ACC has already taken a couple of steps towards the Big Ten by going to 9 conference games. It would have been an easy step forward for the Big Ten to say, okay, we'll go to the required 10. You're not, what are you protecting? Like, what are you doing? 6 Big Ten teams, 5 Big Ten teams, they can easily schedule a Power 4 opponent. And if not, play each other in a 9-conference game. But you're playing a 10. What is the bargain? The Big Ten already has a lot of chips. The other conferences already went towards them in compromise. Yeah, I did see that. And I did see that. I'm not going to cover that today. Netflix was looking at, I don't know what Netflix was thinking about. I don't know what USC was thinking about. Obviously, that game's not going to Netflix. I don't know why USC even. I will try to cover that tomorrow. You are underestimating Silent Tony. These leagues continually align with the SEC. I get it. I understand that. I do. The offer was proposed to Jen, and she immediately informed the Big Ten of offices. Thank you, Grateful Trojan. Tony Petitti is playing 3D chess, Greg. The gold. I think it makes the Big Ten look soft. I don't know what you're gaining by it, but looking soft. What are you gaining by it? And if you go to an AQ model, you want those big non-conference games. Tony Petitti is arguing against his model. That's what he's doing. If you're not required, both conferences, all 4 conferences are arguing against the model that they're proposing. It's phone number 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. Let me know how wrong I am. Tell me, explain it to me. Explain it to me. Yeah, see, I don't agree with this. The Big Ten is not a cakewalk. I get it. There's a lot of anti-Big Ten in the chat room. But it's not... And again, most Big Ten teams are doing it. We're talking about the requirement of doing it.
From
Rick?
Rick, help me out here. Help me out. The floor is yours.
It's simple. So simple.
Yeah.
Tony Petitti knows he's doing the big scoop from 18 to 22, maybe 24. He's going to play 10 P4 teams, all in the Big Ten. But he just can't tell anybody because
Okay.
he hasn't done the scoop yet.
Okay, let me push that a little bit forward here. Rick brought up something very provocative, and there is some evidence. I've talked about this before. Not the last time PJ Fleck extended his contract, but the time before that, within PJ Fleck's contract, and this was reported by none other than Andy Greeter of the St. Paul Pioneer Press, who reported the Mark Coyle interview that we've just been over. The same columnist in the same newspaper had breaking news on the contract of PJ Fleck, and PJ Fleck had a win total contract, like most coaches. If you win so many games, you're going to make so much money. But there were two parts of the contract. The contract was written in as a Big Ten conference with 9 conference games. This is the win total that you need to hit to get your bonus, whatever that win total was. And there was the other part of the contract that said, but in a 10 conference game contract, this is the number that you're going to need to hit to get your bonus. And of course, that number is going to be 1 win less. It's going to be lower, right? So it's written in PJ Fleck's contract. We know that there's a potentiality of the Big Ten going to 10 conference games. Rick, I think you bring up a very strong argument on why Tony Petit. I get it, but I still don't understand why would it be so difficult, even if you're going to go down that road, even if you're going to expand bigly, like it looks like they might, and sooner rather than later, and they might. I still don't understand why it'd be so difficult for Tony Petit to say, okay, yeah, we're going to have a requirement down the road here shortly of 10 Power 4 conference games. I don't get why he can't do that simple PR, so to speak. Go ahead, Rick.
Well, maybe Tony's such a nice guy that he doesn't like the idea of mean people from the SEC and mean people from the ACC, and mean people like Greg Flugar,
yeah,
who really don't like little schools. And Tony is for the little schools, and he believes all P4 conferences, all 4 of them, should play a required 3 G6 schools.
Yeah, I don't think
For
so.
the good of college football.
Yeah.
For the good of college football. To get some money into the pipeline of those poor little schools.
I mean, I think
Don't be so greedy, Greg.
I think that is important, and I think the Big Ten, with their relationship with the MAC conference, I think that is important. But again, you
can't get it more equal if all the P4 schools are playing 3 G6s. It's equality.
Yeah.
It helps little schools. Don't be so mean. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, you got it. Appreciate it. Beautiful call. Got some super chats here. Great call by Rick. Yeah, I mean, it's the only he went down the road that I went down where maybe the Big Ten is just like things are going to look so much different here very quickly that we got another super chat. Christopher Huda. Are Oregon State and Wazoo Power 4 opponents for the Oregon and Washington? I bet they are not, and that complicates Oregon and Washington's P4 non-conference commitments. Again, it does probably complicate it. But again, can't Oregon and Washington stick with their commitments with Oregon State and Washington State and then still play another Power 4 conference opponent? I mean, it's not like Oregon State, Washington State. No offense to them, but it ain't like they're at the top of the... And again, look, starting next year, they're going to be G6. And does it complicate things from Washington and Oregon's perspective? Maybe, but in reality... I get it, though. I mean, you make up a good point, Christopher Hooter. Good point. But I don't think it's enough. I don't think it should be so... I don't think that rises up enough complication to stop a commissioner and a conference and their presidents and their athletic directors from making the determination that it is best for the conference to come out and say, yes, it's going to be a requirement in the future that all schools play 10 Power 4 opponents. I don't understand. None of these are hurdles big enough for them to overcome to be able to say that quite simply today. They should be saying it today. Instead of sources being on official, like they haven't even had the discussions. That is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. OPD down. Massive super chat. Opie, just a little funds for the mower in those tall weeds you're in, and also some Home Depot bags for the dirt to fill all those rabbit holes, so you don't break an ankle stepping in one mowing. Thank you, Opie. Thank you so much for the super chat, for your generosity, and for your comments, creative comments. Yeah, well, you know what? When I dig those little rabbit holes, I let the little general take care of the rest. She can put the dirt wherever she wants to put it, but I got to get down in those rabbit holes. And when I have to go down in a rabbit hole, Opie, it's not really a rabbit hole. It's a gopher hole. And that gopher hole has to be pretty big for me to go down. Pretty big. It has to be basically a gopher sinkhole for the fat guy from Minnesota to get down in there and go into the rabbit hole. Thank you, Opie. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you, Christopher Hooter. Thank you so very much. Rock and rant, Mr. Hurricane. The Big Ten hypocrisy. The Big Ten hypocrisy is pretty amazing. They were crying about the SEC not having as many conference games. They don't want to take more possible L's. Thank you, Rock and Rant, for being a member for 20 months. 20 months. I agree. I don't get it. I don't. Again, the Big Ten should be celebrating the fact that the SEC went to 9 conference games. But then you had to turn a victory for all, not just for the Big Ten, a victory for the college football fan, because now there's what? I think Heather Denich, as somebody reported, 33 more P4 matchups during the regular season because of what these conferences did. You turn that victory into just a brutal PR move. Philosophy move. Bad philosophy. Thank you, Rock and Rant.
Call from
Tristan 5.
Tristan 5, the floor is yours.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, listen, I had a couple of quick points I wanted to make. I tried calling in the other day, but I never could get through when you were going over the SEC's new scheduling formula where everyone has 3, I guess what they're calling it, annual opponents now.
Yeah.
Do you have that at your fingertips there?
The SEC, their opponents, their permanent rival opponents.
Yeah.
Let me see if I still have it. I do not. I don't have it.
That's all right if you don't have it. I can still sort of. I was going to point out that LSU and Alabama don't have each other on there anymore. And
yes, true.
That's probably the biggest rivalry game that got dropped, in my opinion, out of all of the changes that occurred. And the other thing is, I don't know if you went over the individual schools, but man, I think Arkansas got screwed on that one. But they had 3 tough games, and they're not. They're a program, Greg, that you would say is in the bottom half of the league. And man, the 3 teams they got are really tough, though. I think it's Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, if I remember correctly. So I kind of feel like they got ripped off a little bit on that scheduling formula. But the other thing I wanted to mention to you as well is I disagree with your take on the Georgia-Alabama game. I'm going to give you the score. Okay, I predict that Alabama's going to win that game 38-27.
38-27 Alabama?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yes. They got the horses, Greg. They do. Tennessee just played really good, but overall they're not as talented as Alabama. They just aren't, and it's not a knock on them. They're a good team, but Alabama is a much more talented team. Greg, I think they're playing some really good football right now. I think Georgia's defense is a step slow. I have doubts about the offense, even though they did well against Tennessee. And they also, Alabama has this thing where Georgia just can't get over the hump and beat them.
Yeah.
So I'm adding all that up, Greg, and to me it sounds like a 38-27 victory for Alabama.
You know what? If Ty Simpson keeps playing like he's playing, you may be on to something. You may be on to something. Now, what about Jam Miller? Is he ready to play?
You know what? I have not heard. I need to go get caught up.
Yeah.
Also, they have that nose tackle that was injured for the first few. I don't know if he's coming back or not. I can't remember the guy's name. But he's like a major defensive talent for Alabama. That's not Jam Miller, right? Jam Miller's the running back, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. I need to look and see if their defensive tackle's coming back. And, Greg, if he is, man, that's just going to make it even harder on Georgia. Yeah, I'm going with Alabama in this one. And, Greg, this is one of these series that, to me, it's real similar to Penn State and Ohio State. Penn State just can't get over the hump, even though they play Ohio State really tough. They can't beat them. And it's the same way with Georgia and Alabama. They can't beat them for whatever reason. I don't know why. So, you have my score.
Okay.
I'll call back and you
was it 38-27?
Yeah, that's what I'm predicting. 38-27.
Got it.
All right.
All right, man. I appreciate
thanks a lot,
the
Greg.
call.
You keep up the good work.
Yeah, I need you to stick around here. We've got major breaking news, and I think I might have just undersold that. So please stick around.
Okay.
You might want to call back. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. We got breaking news. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it, sir.
All right. I'll catch you later, Greg.
You got it. I'm going to have to take the phone off the hook. We've got major breaking news. Massive on a massive scale. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Nobody panic. This does not explain why the Big Ten had, well, it does not explain it, but my goodness. My goodness. Breaking news. Breaking news. Ross Dellinger, 12 minutes ago. The college football playoffs future format is still up in the air as the power conference leaders mull a new working group. Again, just released. I'm going to skip all the power conference commissioners are exploring a new working group made up of their own athletic directors. 2 to 3 from each Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and the Big 12 to consider a variety of CFP formats, those with the knowledge of the plans to tell the Yahoo Sports. As a launching point to the discussion, now don't go away, stay right here. Several Big Ten school administrators are socializing a concept to grant each power conference league an equal number of automatic qualifiers and a field of more than 20 teams. 20 teams. However, administrators caution that such a format must garner the support of the SEC. According to a CFP policy passed last year, the Big Ten and the SEC both together must agree on a format for it to be approved. The ball's in your court, SEC. The ball's in your court. Okay. But the first step is formalizing the working group of athletic directors from each of the 4 power leagues, a move that was expected to be further explored here in Chicago in meetings of the commissioners of those 4 leagues. If the working group is formalized, various formats are expected to be under consideration, ranging from 16 to 28 to even 32 teams. That's right. It wasn't just the Big Ten that was kicking these ideas. It was the SEC, but it was only the Big Ten that got raked over the coals. Again, I'm an equal raking over the coals type of dude. The Big Ten should be getting lanced today on their ridiculous non-requirement of 10 Power 4, but not on this. No, no, no. If no format, now listen, it gets better. It gets better. If no format agreement is reached for the 2026 playoff, leaders are working under a deadline that expires in 2 months. The playoff is likely to remain at 12 teams. All right, Inside the meeting room Wednesday, Power Conference commissioners shared with others with potential plans to form the AD working group. The concept the Big Ten athletic directors are socializing is notable. It is an about face from the previous proposals made by the Big Ten Conference and schools officials that would have granted an unequal number of automatic berths to the 4 power leagues in a 16-team concept originally proposed. The SEC and the Big Ten received twice the number of automatic bids, 4, as the ACC and the Big 12, followed by 1 spot for the best non-power league champion and 3 at-large selections. In the latest socialized concept, all 4 power leagues would be granted the same number of auto bids, perhaps 3 or 4, with 1 or 2 spots designated for the Sun Belt, the Pac-12, the Mountain West, CUSA, American, and the MAC. There would be a pool of as many as 6 at-large selections if the format is 24 teams. Such an expansion would likely necessitate the elimination of conference championship games, could trigger renegotiation of the CFP deal with ESPN. The concept is only in the socialized stage and may be met with the pushback, especially from the SEC, where league presidents balked at a 2018 proposal from the Big Ten Commissioner last month, expanding beyond 16 teams and eliminating the SEC money-making conference title game are no small decisions for league administrators. The Big Ten officials publicly, privately, leading the charge for expansion to support a more NFL-like postseason system where conferences are awarded playoff berth through auto bids. Ladies and gentlemen, I might not have to. Because I said I would eat a cheeseburger if the Big Ten and the SEC don't get 4 auto bids each. But whatever, we're going to push. Look. The Big Ten is starting to socialize, trying to get a working group together that is an AQ model, but every power conference gets the same number of AQ bids. 3 or 4. Let's say it's 4. 4, 8, 12, 16. Right? And then you've got 6 at-large bids. And then you've got 2 for the G6, the top 2 ranked champions in the G6. That's a 2014 playoff. A 2014 playoff. The playoff that Rhys Davis, I like Rhys Davis, I like him, but he looked right in the camera and he chewed Tony Petitti out and he said that was absurd. Is it? Is it really absurd? Is it? The AQ model makes the regular season more valuable for everybody. And the Big 12 and the ACC. The Big 12 and the ACC. I don't know, man. This is it. You go into that working group and you say, yeah, you know what? I agree with the Big Ten now. We're getting the same AQs as they are. Load us up, baby. Load us. We're in. And then there's 6 at-large bids. There's 6 of them. Hey, Southeastern Conference. Listen to the fat guy from Minnesota. I know I got a weird accent. I know I sing off key. I know my predictions are bleep. I was ripping on, and I'm still going to rip on the Big Ten for the foolishness. Look, hey, hold on. If you have 6 at-large bids, the SEC, come on, you're going to get most of those. Take your 4 AQs, and you're going to get 3 of the at-large bids. You're going to get 7 teams in. And Big Ten, okay, now I was ripping on you for the first hour and a half. I got to give you flowers. The AQ model is the way to go. The AQ model is the way to go. It is. And now, if you want to have the Big Ten schools have the best chance for those 6 at-large bids, you got to go to the 10. You got to go to the 10 required A4 matchups. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we even discussing here? This has got to happen. Big 12, what else could you possibly want? ACC, what could you possibly want? Southeastern Conference, this is where we're going to get the pushback. Right? Because 6 at-large bids, 4 AQ for the SEC. This is great. Big Ten, I ripped on you for the first hour and a half. I applaud you. And by the way, a lot of you in the chat room, have been saying over the last few months that maybe the Big Ten should just do this, to force it on the SEC, to say, look, let's all have the same AQ, but have enough at-large bids. You see, at Rock and Rant, there's absolutely a world where the SEC agrees because they can get their plans done and they bridge the gap and they get more at-large teams and they make more money. Absolutely. I agree with Rock and Rant. And the 24 number does that whole where you have 8 first round home campus games for seeds 9 through 16, right? Going up against seeds 17 through 24. So you have 8 first round home games on campus. And then the second round, you have 8 home games on campus for seeds 1 through 8. Because they figured out how valuable they were for the program, for the school, for the community, who's ever holding that home playoff game. I don't know. This is Silent Tony continues to outfox. No, I don't agree with that at all. I'm the one who's been pushing Silent Tony. I will agree. This is what I will admit to. I was against the AQ model. But I flipped long ago because it is the best model by far. It is. You're still going to have your selection committee. They're still going to have to pick the 6 at large. We're still going to have all these discussions, right? We're going to argue. There's going to be propaganda. But you're going to have the conference races. You're going to be following them closely. You're going to know as a fan base, can I get into that 4 spot? Can I get into that 3 spot? Can I be considered the conference champion? Can I get that first round bye, seed 1 through 8? MBM, baby. MBM. You got MBM. Mr. Cowboy, the Cowboy and the Gopher. We've been going at it. We've been going at it like this. But this is a kumbaya moment between me and MBM. This is it. This has got to be it. Let's get back to bashing Petiti in the Big Ten, Greg. Well, I will. I mean, I did. And I will stand up on that. I know all the Big Ten people are mad at me now. Tomorrow it's going to be somebody else, but you... And if you're... Okay, if you are, as I said earlier, if you are confident about passing the AQ model with that large bids, because remember, I've been saying for months, the AQ model works, but the number 16 was too small for it to work. You had to go bigger than 16. Now we're at 24. I think it's a beautiful number. I really think it works. And if you're going to do an AQ model, we're going to open up the phone lines again. We're going to open up the phone lines again. Breaking news. We got your Mark is somewhere smoking a cigar. Mayor McCheese. Look, I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'm going to open them up. This live show has taken a drastic turn. A drastic turn. I don't know who's going to say no. I mean, the Southeastern Conference could say no, but like, but Rock and Rant makes a very good point. The Southeastern Conference is going to make more money on it. They're going to just and this greases the skid for conference expansion without diminishing the complete value of the conferences that get poached. I can't wait for the opening round of Toledo versus New Mexico. Bring it on, baby. Let's go! Let's go! Who's favored? What's the line? What's the Las Vegas line? That can be the late night Friday night game. Can we stop expansion now since half of every conference will automatically be in the playoff? They're not. That's the point, though. There ain't going to be half the conference going to make the playoffs. When the Southeastern Conference eventually goes to 20 teams, they're going to be getting about 7 of those 20 teams to make the playoffs. 1/3 of their conference is going to be making the playoffs. Not going to be half. Rock and Rant, the apologies to everyone who told me I was an idiot for saying a Big 12 and ACC shouldn't just take what they can be done via Super Chat for Greg. Big 12, ACC. You got to jump on this, baby. Christopher Hooter, but why would the SEC agree that the top 4 Big 12 programs are as worthy as the top 4 SEC teams? Well, that's the thing. It isn't necessarily saying that, right? You're most likely, I mean, and I think Rock and Rant would agree with me. I'm going to open up the phone lines here. What's going to happen, in my belief, Christopher Hooter, is, and you see it, we're going to see it play out this year, next year. Most of the time, and when I say most of the time, I'm saying 99% of the time, the SEC is going to have more teams getting a first round bye than the Big 12. The SEC is going to have way more teams getting home campus stadium games, seeded 1 through 8 or seeded 9 through 16. It's not a shot at the Big 12. It's not. And the SEC is going to get more at-large teams into the playoffs. The SEC is going to make more money than the Big 12. The distribution money. But we're talking about AQ access for the Big 12 to get 4, for the ACC to get 4 out of a 2014 playoffs and still have the ability to get at-large bids, especially if you win those non-conference games. Let's go! What are we waiting for? Phone lines are open. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 24 teams means 5 rounds of playoffs. Definitely running into NFL Saturday games. Yes. Now, Ganoush, the season's going to have to start in the middle of August. Right?
From
Christopher Hooter.
Christopher Hooter, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, I love you, Greg. But you drinking the Kool-Aid on this one, man.
Oh, wait, I've been drinking the Kool-Aid on this for months. This is my dream come true. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. The day that I'm ripping the Big Ten for being soft, but yet somehow they finally delivered the message. AQ models all being the same, 24, 6 at large. Let's go. Let's go. Christopher Hooter, go ahead, sir.
The 4, 4, 2.5, 2.5, 1, 2 or 3 or whatever it is about the right ratio. You know, why would you agree to 4, 4, 4, 4 or 3, 3, 3, 3? You know, I mean, why would you surrender that territory?
You don't have to. You don't have to. We can go down the road of a 12-team playoff, doing the same thing, 5 plus 7. We can continue doing this. But
well, I mean, if you're Greg Sankey, okay,
yeah.
what you know,
I'll
tell
you
this
why.
to Greg Sankey.
I'll tell you why. Because Sankey has got plans. He wants to increase the footprint. He wants to increase his conference. He wants to get opportunities to get a more diverse student population. He wants to go international. He wants more exposure. He wants bigger, brighter, better, stronger, even stronger SEC. And they're going to be able to, in this format, the SEC is going to go to town. You're going to get 7 teams in the playoffs, maybe even more. You're going to win most of the games.
You could have 0 automatic qualifiers.
It's going to be a Southeastern Conference party, Christopher Hooter. Go ahead, sir.
I think it's an attempt to stabilize the ACC and let everybody stay put. That's how I read it. I don't read it as a green light to expand. I read it a green light. Hey, finally, we'll make enough money. We can just stay where we are. So I kind of read it 180 from you.
Yeah.
And so why would the SEC agree with that? I mean, if they really want to expand. No, if they don't want to.
Because schools are still going to want to go to the Southeastern Conference. You're going to make more money during the playoff. The playoff distribution favors the SEC. All the exposure, all the branding. You're still going to want to go to the Southeastern Conference. And if you're a school like North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, and Florida State, you're going to say, well, you know, look, it ain't going to be just 3 SEC teams going to make this expanded playoffs. It's going to be up probably 6, 7, 8 teams. And we got a shot to be once in a while one of those top 8, 7 teams in the SEC. You're still going to want to go to the Southeastern Conference. The Southeastern Conference is going to have more teams in the expanded playoffs than the ACC and the Big 12. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to shoot at the ACC and the Big 12. And the SEC is probably going to have more teams in the playoffs than the Big 10. It's just the reality of it. So the SEC is still gonna, it's gonna be, go ahead, sir.
All right, so let's say the Big 10 and the SEC are going to expand. You pick the number; they're going to 20 each.
Yeah.
So there's 4 and 2. So there's 6 teams are going to get plucked from the ACC and the Big 12. Say 5 because Notre Dame. Let's say Notre Dame's one of them. So 5 are going to get plucked. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then they're going to backfill the ACC and the Big 12 with G5s. Okay.
Yep.
So that new Big 12 is going to get the same number of automatic qualifiers as the SEC. Dude, zero chance. I mean, zero. Who's the guy on the Animal House? 0.0.
Yeah.
I don't.
You know what? And maybe, just maybe, those AQs then would be adjusted because of material realignment. But again, the AQs are the floor. It's not the ceiling. It ain't the ceiling. I mean, it's like NCAA basketball tournament. The conference champions of the top 32 conferences, they get an automatic berth into the NCAA dance. But that's the floor. It's all the large bids that fit, like the SEC had all those Big Ten basketball teams that made it to the tournament. It's the floor.
Yes, but small schools can compete in basketball.
Yeah.
You only need 5 or 6 or 7 guys, right? It's not like football where you got to have 50 of them.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true, and that's why you're going to have this. You're not going to have the number 1 team playing the number 24 team in the playoffs, right? Number 24 is going to be playing number 17 in the first round, and then the winner of those goes up against, and then you know what I'm saying? You're going to have 24 play against number 9. 23 play against number 10.
You're saying the 4th Big 12 team is going to play the 7th SEC team.
And we're going to have blowouts. Well, guess what? We had blowouts last year.
Well, we already had blowouts.
We had blowouts in the 14 playoffs.
Correct.
We're always going to have blowouts. It's just college football. It's the way it is.
Okay. Well, just
I love
call me skeptical.
Yeah.
Call me skeptical.
Yeah. Okay. Ball's in your court
enjoy
now.
The phone call.
The ball is
All
in
right,
the
buddy.
SEC's court. Thank you so much, sir.
I was trying to save you a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, who knows? Who knows? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate the call.
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah.
I got to get caught up on the very I got to get caught up in the very kind super chats. I do apologize. I'm sorry, guys. I got so excited. I think I blacked out for a moment. OBD Don, thank you so much for for your generosity. I apologize, sir. My apologies, Opie. Super chat. Okay, since the little general is using the dirt for other things like the flower bed, she will need some cow poo bags and make the veggies, flowers to look better and stronger. Thank you, Opie. Thank you so very much for your super chat, for your generosity. And I apologize. I did not get to it in a timely fashion. My bad. Sorry about that. Thank you, Opie. Christopher Hooter, who just gave us a call. I thank you for the $2 holla. And Christopher, I do apologize for getting late to your generosity, your super chat. Sorry, I lost it. I absolutely lost it. Thank you for the wonderful phone call. Christopher Hooter, this is a sillier idea than the government takeover. but I love this idea. I love this silly idea. I don't like the other one, but I love this silly. I want the conferences and schools to decide the college football playoff. I do not want some unaffiliated government agency dictating what our college football playoffs are going to look like. But I love this idea, Christopher. Thank you so much for the $2 holla. I appreciate it. Mayor McCheese. Good to see Greg excited again. Good to see Greg excited again. Thank you, Ryan Thomas. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you so very much. Opie's got a great question. Another super chat coming on in. Opie, so will all these extra college football playoff games be played on Friday nights to not go against the NFL? It's being socialized, Opie. It's being socialized. They're gonna have working groups. You know how great these working groups work, right? 2 representatives from each conferences. They're gonna hash all this out. Friday night, absolutely. Absolutely. Got to have games on Friday nights, Thursday nights, Saturday. Let's do it, Opie. Let's do it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your generosity once again. My goodness. My goodness. Sean Dillinger on the College Football Inquiry Sunday also said the Big Ten and the SEC are furthest apart they've ever been in the playoffs format. Well, that was Sunday. Today's Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. They're going to form these working groups. The Big Ten might be able to get, I think they're going to be able to get the ACC and the Big 12 on their side. Equal number of AQs for the power conferences. 2 for the G6. 6 at large. What's the problem? Let's go. Let's go.
From
Rick?
Rick is on the line. The floor is yours.
to accept, press
Holy
1.
smokes.
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Whoops, my bad. I did something wrong. You there, Rick?
I am.
I apologize. I'm so excited. I don't know how to work the phones anymore. Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Oh, real quick, I was just going to ask a question and take the answer off. And that's how this is going to impact with each conference, if it works out, having 4 qualifiers. Sounds like each conference might be interested in some playing games.
I don't think so. I don't know, Rick. I don't think so, though. I mean, they're gonna get probably rid of the championship game. I think because the playoffs are so long now, I don't think the play-in games are gonna be. I don't know. I would love them as a fan, but you're looking at 12 games. And then if you are, you're looking at 5 games if you're seeded 17 through 24 and you make a run to the championship game, right? 5 games? Do I got that right? Yeah. So that's 17 total games. If you have a play-in game, then you're looking at a total of 18 games. Rick, are you there?
Yeah. I'm trying to do the math with the team, the 5 and 6, 5th and 6th teams, that it wouldn't be an extra game unless they got in.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, something to think about. Well, We'll see how it goes.
I got it. Thanks for the call, man.
Yep, bye.
Appreciate it. Hold on, guys. Okay.
Call from
Fred.
Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Hey, Greg. I think Christopher's call is a good reminder that even though you and I are excited about this, somebody's probably going to oppose it initially, and you're going to have to negotiate, see if you can come to some kind of resolution on it. I think the ACC and the Big 12, can't do any better than this. But here's the thing: for 26, it's either this or we're doing 12 teams, and either's okay for me for 26.
Yeah.
At the same time, what was that we were hearing all along? The Big Ten wasn't listening to the ACC and the Big 12 and their concerns. Well, I think they have. They not only increased the number, they made it equal. So you're not half of the other two conferences, you're whole with the other conferences. So I think it's a good starting point, and whether they can get it done in 2 months or not, I think it's much better than the 5-11 model, and so it's a good place to really have serious discussions.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, man, I don't know.
You didn't see this one coming, did you?
Huh? No, I know I did not. No, I did not.
I don't think any of us did.
I got to tell you, and I've been honest, my whole thought process flipped months ago when I listened to the arguments. I didn't want to be caught in my own information silo. I thought AQ model was a bad idea, but I got to tell you, I think it makes the regular season so much more valuable to have a conference race in which you're going to have more fan bases, more involved later in the season. And you're not going to have an entire conference and their fan bases wiped out from playoff contention just because there's a lot of equal competition going on in your conference, where everybody has a couple losses 6 weeks into the season, and you're still going to have the AQ model. There's still going to be valuable games. Your media partners are going to know that. You're going to know that. Your fan bases are going to know that. I think the AQ model completely wipes out the other model of a 5+19, 5+11, whatever. So yeah, I don't even see the need for play-in games now, because you're going to have more qualifiers. You're going to have more potential qualifiers. Yeah. Yes.
And at that point, you just don't really want to play any extra games for injury concerns.
Exactly. Yep. And we got these large conferences, right?
Right.
And I believe they're going to get larger.
Absolutely.
So you're going to have imbalanced scheduling in these conferences. And that can never be eliminated, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. There are going to be schools that have a lot easier schedule, more difficult schedule. Some teams are going to have horrible injuries. You thought they were going to be good. They're not any good. Your team's schedule might line up to be absolutely brutal. The next year could be really easy. So to determine a conference champion, to determine who should get to the playoffs, to have a selection committee figure out all these at-large bids with all this imbalanced scheduling, going to these silly metrics, Most of the teams going to the playoffs should get there through an AQ model, in my opinion. These conferences have a lot of imbalanced scheduling in them every year. But you know what? If you get to the top 4 of your conference, you're in. And if you don't get to the top 4 of your conference, but you had some big non-conference victories, or maybe even a big victory over the top team in your conference, you are going to get a shot to the at-large bid. I cannot. 24 works in so many different ways. Guys and gals, I think this is our future. We just got to hang on to it. We got to grab it. Let's go. Go ahead,
Exactly.
sir.
Everybody's a winner this way, it seems to me.
Yeah, there's still going to be losers. There's still going to be my Golden Gophers out there. But this is going to bring more fan bases longer into the season, being excited.
Right.
I hope it happens.
And when those teams walk off the field, they'll know if they're in the first 4.
Yes, and the fans will know if they're in or not. For the most of them. Right? You're still going to have the at-large bids and stuff.
Okay, Greg. Thank you.
Beautiful call. Call again,
Take
sir.
care.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Very interesting comment by Chris Hughes. Oh my God! They may have to adopt this format to get Congress to sign off on the SCORE Act. Wow. That would probably help. You'd be able to say, look, everyone, if the Power 4 conference teams have got equal access, and the G6 conferences, there's going to be 2 representatives. Who knows? It could help grease the skids. Very interesting comment, Chris Hughes. Very interesting comment. Morris Simmons, if this doesn't work, bring on the Super League. Only if the schools agree with it, not by government decree. Wow. Woo! John Grove, yes, 24, make it happen. Greg, I believe the word you're looking for is flabbergasted. I think you're correct. I think you are correct. My goodness, what a day. It started with me chewing out the Big Ten, and then it ended with me applauding the Big Ten, and hopefully, and I think I got a feeling that the Big 12 and the ACC are going to be all over this. I cannot understand why they wouldn't be. And now the SEC might be the minority on this. But they're going to have to agree for this thing to pass. Sean doesn't like a big old playoff. Sean does not like it. Woody, get rid of the lower bowl. There's no doubt a lot of bowl games are going to go away because of this. Michael Smith back to multiple shared conference champions by committee. All right, guys, we've been on the air for 2.5 hours. I want to thank Heartbreak 25, Christopher Hooter, OPD Don, Rock and Rant, Mayor McCheese, for your generosity, for your donations to help us keep the lights on, to grow the channel. Thank you guys so very much. So very much. I'm very humbled that you want to donate to the show to keep this going. I appreciate everybody coming on in. All your great comments. Thank you guys so very much. What a day. What a day. What a day. Is this what the Minnesota athletic director was talking about? No, he was talking about Big Ten expansion. And I don't know. Again, this greases the skids, and something like this would happen, would grease the skids for larger conferences. Thank you, Don Scruggs, for the reminder. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Jared Jones, thanks for coming on in. Wow. Wow. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Again, we made our picks against the spread. We did that about over 2 hours ago. But we made our selections, 13 games, Greg the Cooler, PATC Einsteins, and we only disagreed on 2 games. We talked the Big Ten, are they going soft, not requiring 10 P4 opponents? And then the breaking news during our live show, historic breaking news, it's starting to be socialized. The Big Ten doing an about face, proposing equal number of AQs in a 24-team playoff, 62-team playoff, 32-team playoff. It's all being discussed. Can they get it changed? Can there be some consensus before December 1st here at Peek Around the Corner? We are going to be following all of it. So make sure, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to our channel. Open up those notifications so we know we're coming on live, and smash the like button if you like our content. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. We're going to be here tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. We're going to be doing watch parties. Saturday, we're going to be doing watch parties. Sunday, we're going to be doing the Aftermath show. Sunday, we are going to see Greg the Gold show up one more time this season. 2014 playoff, AQ model. Mark me down as a yes. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, golden goal.